Hey guys, Jimmy here with Auto Wrap Shop Marketing Pros, and I want to welcome you to the Masterclass. This is called the Wrap Shop Masterclass, and these are the four keys to dominating your market. All right, and today we're going to go into knowing your metrics. Now, let me kind of do a little housekeeping here, a little of the tech side of it, and let's get you going. All right, so wanted to kind of give you a little introduction. What is the point of these trainings? Well, the one big question that you should be asking yourself as a wrap shop owner is, how do I make or how do I make more money in the fastest, easiest way possible? That's the whole point of this, right? And so that's what this whole masterclass is about. Is showing you how to do that. And it's a four-part masterclass, and it's the four big secrets to tripling your sales and profits. Okay, and like I said, it's quite capable to do this in 60 days or less. If you implement these are very powerful, and I want to show you how you can do this in 60 days or less. Okay, so what we're going to go through is four key elements to this. This is the four things. When we wrote our book, Wrap Shop Marketing Secrets, we done research on wrap shops from coast to coast, and we started to correlate what they were all doing, what the most successful wrap shops were doing, what they had in common, what things they avoided, what did they capitalize on, and we started to put that into an easy format, and we kind of started to put a format to it and put some logic behind it and some structure behind that. And what we come up is there's four big areas, and the first one is metrics, and that's what we're going to be going over tonight. And I'm going to show you some really powerful things about your metrics and what you should know and how to stop the bleeding. Because what we found is that most wrap shops, and I'm going to show you real quickly here, you'll be amazed at how much money you're leaving on the table every month, month after month. You're bleeding money. If you're the typical average wrap shop that is seeing a little bit of success, you'll be baffled at how much money you're bleeding every month. Now, then I'm going to show you how to sell without selling. Some of these guys are having people like hoping to get on their schedule. Like they're not selling their work. They're not avoiding or messing with tire kickers or Karens. They're literally having people hoping that they can fit them in because they don't want to trust their car to anybody else. I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to show you how to sell without selling, and it's genius. Then I'm going to show you the importance of automation, right? And how they say the money's in the follow up, and they say that you know there's human error. I want to show you how you can take automation systems and software and do this all on autopilot so that you literally spend very little time with your clients. You spend very little time in the front office, and all you're doing is making money by delivering on the jobs. And all of this is just done on autopilot, and there's no human error. And I want to show you how that all works. And then at the end, what I want to show you is most wrap shops don't exercise authority and credibility. See, we buy emotionally, but we do not, but we justify logically. And what most people do is brag about how good they are, right? They use logic and ego marketing. But these top wrap shops are using authority and expertise and credibility, and they're actually having people hoping to work with them rather than trying to sell them anything. And experts have assets, and what we want to do is position you as the guy, the shop in your town, your local market. We want to as the go-to shop. Well, how do you do that? Well, it has a lot less to do with you and a lot more to do with authority and credibility and perception than your end product or your end result. And we want to show you how to do that. And so all of that combined is what we're trying to answer for you in this four-part mini-series is how do I make more money in the fastest, easiest way possible with the least amount of friction. What does that mean? Well, we don't want you to, make a big deal about this. We're not talking about turning your wrap shop into a three-ring circus. I want to show you how to make the fastest, easiest money without hiring more employees or depending on more employees, without trading time for dollars, without buying more or better equipment or fancy or the new fangled thing or 3D printer or whatever. You don't need to do any of that. I'm talking about simply making more money doing what you're already doing with the same shop you're in, with the same amount of employees you have, nothing fancy about it. And you don't need any of this stuff. And so what I want to show you is how to do that. Now, why would you listen to me? How do I know this stuff? Well, as I said, when we wrote our book, Wrap Shop Marketing Secrets, we hacked the top wrap shops around America and we learned their biggest secrets. And we learned, we interviewed hundreds and hundreds of shops and we know exactly what works, what doesn't, why. And we came across a very scary statistic. 95% of wrap shop owners retire broke. They trade time for dollars. And yes, while they own the wrap shop, they make good money. Little Timmy gets braces. The wife gets a new car. The mortgage is paid and all that stuff. But what they start to realize is by the time they hit 50, 55 years old, they start to realize is the minute they stop working, the income's gone and they don't have enough money to retire with any type of security or safety, and they've given up their freedom. And so what we want to show you is how not to do that. I want to show you how to make a massive amount of money, not just pay your bills and live a good life. We want to show you how to make millions of dollars so that you can retire and go live out your bucket list or retire early and go travel the world or whatever it is you want to do. Okay. And so we took all that information and what they done and how they did it. And we want to show you how to do the same thing so you can easily do the same thing. Okay. Now, what I want you to do is download the template and follow along. Okay. And so there's a button right down there. Just download the template and in a few minutes you can follow along with me. Okay. But I want to kind of get into the first training, and that is about your metrics, right? And so when you visit a doctor for the first time, what do? They take your vitals, right? Now, why do they do that? Well, when you walk in and you say, Doc, or you go to the hospital and you say, honey, I've got a migraine headache. I can't get rid of it. My left eye feels like it's going to pop out of my head, and I just can't get rid of it. I've took Tylenol for 3 days straight. Something's going on. And you go to the doctor. And what do? You sign up, you go into the room, and what do? They take all your vitals. Because the doctor, until he gets a good look at your vitals, he believes that you have a migraine headache. He doesn't think you're lying. It isn't that he doesn't trust you. But there's a million reasons that you could have a migraine headache. They take your blood pressure, they take your temperature, they look down your throat, they look in your ears, they're looking for infection. They want to see what your heart rate is, your blood pressure. They want to see all this stuff. Because although you have a migraine headache, it could be from hypertension, it could be from blood pressure, you could be in the middle of taking a stroke, it could be a sinus infection, or it could just be allergies, it could be stress. But until he takes your vitals, he can't get a good idea of the health and the overall structure of your body, right? And so you have symptoms, right? Which is a headache. That's what brought you in there. And so you have a symptom, but what he wants to know is he's not interested in the symptom. He doesn't think about it. The doctor doesn't even talk to you till the nurse has already been in, took your vitals, and he's took a look at them. Because he's not interested in your symptoms. He's interested in the root causes. So until he understands the root causes, the symptoms doesn't matter. It could be one of a million things. And so he's wasting his time asking you about your symptoms until he understands what's the primary root cause of it, right? Well, in that same way, your wrap shop has a set of vitals. And the vitals can tell you everything you need to know about the health of your business. And I can take a look after we've done this for years now. And one of the things I can do was within 24 hours, I can go to your business and I can ask, or I can get the information on about 7 or 8 things, right? 7 or 8 numbers. And we're going to go through these tonight. And I can tell you what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong just from your vitals. I know I don't even have to talk to you, and I don't have to know anything about your wrap shop. And I can take a look at your numbers, and your numbers will give me a massive wealth of information without you saying a word. And then after I get that, then I can talk to you and I can correlate. I can tell if you know what's wrong after I look at those numbers, and then I sit down and talk to you as the owner. I can tell if you've got a clue what's wrong with your business. And that's what we've done. We've done it. And so what are these vitals, Jim? Well, I believe you. What are the vitals you're talking about? Well, here's what the cost of not knowing these vitals are. We have seen time and time and time again, most wrap shops that contact us or that we go and see or that we to help some of our clients, we realize that most of them are absolutely the cost of not knowing your vitals is you might as well take a stack of money and burn it each and every month. You cannot believe how much money's left on the table. And so, what is it you're trying to figure out? Well, what is the cost to acquire a lead? These are some of the things you need to know. What is the cost to acquire a customer? What is the most profitable service you offer out of all the services you offer? These are the things. Because look, what does that mean? What does it mean what is your most profitable service? What does that mean, Jim? Well, a lot of people get stuck with that and they say, well, how would I know? What do I know is the most profitable service? We're going to answer that. But in your gut right now, just from your experience, if I was a wrap shop genie and I could grant one wish of an unlimited supply, but of only one type of lead, one type of project, meaning I will give you an unlimited amount of box truck wraps, partial wraps for contractors, wrap packages for real estate agents or maid services or something like that. But that was all you could do. Paint protection film on sports cars was the only thing you could do. What would be the one thing if you had to pick it, or if, just based off of your experience because maybe you've never asked yourself this before, but what is the one thing, what would it be if I was a genie and I could grant you an unlimited supply of leads, but it was only one type of lead and that's all you could ever do anymore, right? So that would be, what is your most profitable service, right? And so these are the things that you need to know. Now, what's the benefit of knowing these vitals? Well, let me give you an example of what you can do with these vitals and just how fast things can change. Okay. Now, I know that in Miami or Los Angeles, it's going to be a lot more expensive to do a PPF than it would be, in Wichita, Kansas. But I'm just using numbers. The numbers are arbitrary. You fill in your own numbers, right? Because some places, I know they charge $8,000 for a full wrap instead of $4,000 on cars. In certain areas, like Los Angeles, is going to be twice as much money as Wichita, Kansas. But just for the sake of it, just so we can do the math, let's say you charge $4,000 for a full PPF, and you know that the profit's $2,300, and the cost to acquire that customer for that project was $750. If you knew these vitals, then you would know that your true profit was $1,550. Now, you could sit down and sketch out in 2 seconds on a notepad. Well, if I'm capable of completing 3 full wraps a week, a PPF on a sports car, let's say a Tesla, right? But on average, I'm only doing 2. That means that I'm losing $1,550 a week because of the time loss, or that I'm not fully optimized, or I'm not at my full capacity. I could be doing 3, but I'm only doing 2, right? First off, why is that? If you're capable of doing 3, this is a question you should be asking yourself anyway. If I'm capable of doing 3 full wraps a week, but I'm only doing 2, what's the problem? What am I doing wrong? Where's the breakdown? Why am I only doing that? Am I not spending enough in ads? Am I not getting enough referrals? What's the reason? Right? But if you had those numbers and you knew that if you spent $750 a week on marketing, advertising for ads, that you would get another wrap each week and you'd make an extra $80,600 a year. So from that one small tweak and knowing just a few of those numbers in your business, you knew that if you spent $3,000 a month in ads, you'd make an extra $80,000 a year. Would that be worth it to know that? Would it be worth it to know your vitals, but would it also then be worth spending $3,000 a month in ads to make an extra $80,000 a year? And that's just taking advantage of the time loss that you already have. That's just filling your books and actually doing the work that you're capable of doing instead of twiddling your thumbs or having downtime as it is, right? So the one thing you need to do is learn your vitals. Know exactly what your metrics are. You need to know those, because if you do, you can take a look on any given day. That's where your profit and loss statement comes from. That's where the evaluation of your business comes from. That's when you want to sell your business. We helped one girl, just to give you an idea of how powerful this is. We took a guy in Tampa, and with just a few tweaks and helping him optimize what he already was doing. So what I mean is, we figured out he had like 30% downtime because he wasn't getting a consistent, steady flow of leads. And so all we done is fill that gap. And when we filled that gap, he's making an extra $280,000 a year. Not working harder, not working extra, not working an extra day, not hiring an extra employee or an office guy. None of that. All he done was fill the vacant time, and at 5 times gross, his company immediately over the next couple of months was worth $1.6 million more than it was a couple months before that, simply for filling the downtime that he had. Does that make sense? So what I want you to do is download the template below and answer as many of these as you can. Some of these might be completely foreign to you, and you're like, I didn't even know that was a thing, Jimmy. And some of you, some of it might be second nature to you, right? But what we want to do is download the template and answer as many as we can. Because let me tell you something. Knowing the metrics on this template and going through all this and learning all this, or at least getting familiar or re-familiarizing yourself with this, because maybe you haven't thought about it in a while. Listen, life gets busy. We're trying to run wrap shops. We're trying to get the kids to school, make the wife happy, date nights, and all that stuff. And things slip through the cracks. And the next thing you know, a decades went by, and we're no further advanced. Yeah, we're making money, but we're not making a future, right? And so I want to help you revisit these, because knowing these metrics is literally like finding gold. So I want you to take a little time and do a little digging, and let's get this going. Because listen, here's an important thing. If you look at me and say, well, Jim, I don't spend money, I'll never know the metrics because I don't spend any money. I only work from word of mouth marketing or referral marketing. If that's the case and you don't already spend money on marketing, then you need to stop, because none of this is going to help you. And you need to, down below us, I offer a free Zoom call, one session, where you can get a hold of us, get on our books. In other words, there's a calendar. Click on the button below, get on the calendar. And we'll take you through, and I'll show you, I'll give you a crash course in how to do this. So we can show you exactly how much money you can make. We have software. We have a proprietary software that we built based on all of this information. And we can plug in some numbers of what you're doing, and we can tell you about how much you need to spend, where to spend it. We can tell you what your strengths and your weaknesses is, and take your social media. Basically, we can assess your company in like a half hour and tell you exactly what you need to do and about what it would cost you to generate X number of leads and to have X number of income. So we can help you do that. But if you're not spending any money right now on marketing or advertising in any way, then none of the rest of this is going to matter. And basically, you're like a ship on a storm with no rudder and no engine and no sails. In other words, if you depend on word of mouth marketing, you're allowing others to dictate your future, and you have no control of you don't have a business. Right? You really don't. You have a hobby. And so book a free call. Let us show you the exact preliminary steps to keep you from wasting any more time. And I'll show you exactly how to do that. Jump on a call with either Casey, myself, or one of us, and we'll help you get through that. Because if you're not spending money, then this isn't going to work. But for those of you that are, download this template, and here's what it looks like. And I'm going to walk you through this. And just make sure, this is so important. I could have just give you this template instead of making this video, but the problem is, this is so important. I wanted to walk you by the hand and make sure that we're on the same page, because this is extremely critical to the health of your business and the future of you and your wife and your children. And so this will make all the difference in the world. Literally, this four-part mini-series, we designed this to where you'll never be the same. If you go through this and you learn this and you catch these concepts, you will not be the same person at the end of this as you are now. And so let's go through this. So this is what it will look like, but I'm going to kind of, and just think of it like this. I want to give you a little encouragement to stick with me and get through this, because one of my favorite movies was Indiana Jones. And remember when he finally got the stick and the emblem, and he put it together, and when the sun come through and hit the map, it showed him exactly where the treasure was, the Ark of the Covenant. Well, that's what I want to show you how to do. Basically, when you have this, it's exactly like that. Is when you have these numbers, it will show you the exact goal mind in your business and where to get it and where to focus and how to do it in a very short period of time. It doesn't take long to do this. And so let's get going. I want to show you exactly how to do this. So the first one might be easy, and some of these might be second nature to you. Some of these might be foreign. I'm just going to go through and just kind of go through all of this and get you all on the same page so that everyone is super crystal clear about this. So the first one is, what is the cost to acquire a lead? Well, if you spend $1,000 a month and you get 30 leads, 1,000 divided by 30 equals $33 a lead. That's what you're paying. So your cost to acquire a lead currently, this isn't future, this isn't in the past, this is right now. Don't go by memory or old data. What are you currently caught? Because it goes up and down a little bit as your ad campaigns get better or worse. So this can fluctuate. But currently, what is your cost to acquire a lead? You say, well, it's $33. All right. Well, the next one that's important is, what is your current close rate? So you say, well, Jim, I never really thought about that before. Well, that's fine. Let's think about it now. Well, I get 1 out of about every 5 leads. So that would be about a 20% close rate, whatever that is. So out of all the leads you get, what percentage are you closing and turning into jobs? So let's just use 20% for this. But you think about what yours is. I want you to do your own math on this, obviously. But whatever it is, because these things all come together like a drawbridge. Like these little pieces, when they're all put together properly, will make a very powerful weapon. So we'll stick with 20%. Okay. So what is your cost then to acquire a customer? Well, I get 1 out of every 5. I got a 20% close rate. We already know that my leads cost me $33 a piece. So for every 5, I'm getting a job. So $33, the cost of a lead times 5 of them to get a job, means I'm spending $165 for a customer. Okay, so your cost to acquire a customer is $165. Now, another one that you might not, and we're going to go through this a little bit to kind of get us all on the same page. What is your best project when you use profit per time unit or service? What the hell are you talking about, Jimmy? Well, I'm glad you asked. We're about to go through it. For an example, let's say you say, well, Jim, I can wrap a box truck for $3,500. And some of you might be saying $10,000. Some of you might be saying $5,000, whatever. The number doesn't matter. But like the price, the cost of it doesn't matter because everybody's different. But I get to wrap a box truck, a full wrap, I get $3,500. Okay. Now, it takes me 8 hours with 1 helper. So it costs me $950 materials and overhead, and it costs me $200 for a helper. And that means I'm spending $1,150 total for the job. Okay, so $3,500 was cost of it, minus the $1,150 equals $2,350 profit for that full box truck wrap. Now, divide that by the hours, which is 8, took you 8 hours to do it, means that you're making $293 per time unit to wrap a box truck. Okay, so let's leave that as a note down there, right? So now we know that a box truck full wrap is $293 per time unit or per hour. Now, another thing I do, Jim, is I put paint protection film on sports cars. Okay. And if I do there's another one of my services. So let's compare all my services and see what the best PTU is. So I get a PPF on a Tesla is about $4,200. Takes me about 6 hours with 1 helper. Costs me about $800 materials and overhead and $200 for the helper. So that means it cost me $1,000. I'm into a PPF on a Tesla for $1,000. And so $4,200 minus the $1,000 is $3,200. And divided that by the 6 hours that it took me to do it. Now my PTU is $533. Well, Jim, I assessed all these, Chrome deletes and all these things I do, and I've come up with my best PTU is $533, and it's for a it's for a paint protection film on a sports car. Okay, so what I want you to get is you're like, what sense does all this make? It's the little things and getting all these little ducks in a row. Atomic Habits is one of the best books ever written on people getting their crap together, made by James Clear. Awesome book. I highly recommend you read it. But one of the things that a couple of his quotes that really matter to us, right, and that really should affect us, is one of them is, success is the product of daily habits, not once-in-a-lifetime transformations. Meaning, it's the little things. What we found the most successful shops doing wasn't big dramatic things. It was just knowing their numbers and making a few little adjustments here and there. And that's what we're doing. And another one is, we do not rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems. And what we found is that most people don't have systems and structures in place because they don't know their metrics. And that's what we're building here is all these numbers are a lot more important than you think they are. And what we noticed is, like I said, when we was writing our book and doing all the research for it, the big boys wasn't doing dramatic big things or obviously grand things. They simply did the little things right every single day. And what they all done, and this is what I'm taking you through, is they seen and started identifying their most profitable services, and they got rid of everything else and they went all in and just started doing the things that made them the most money. To the guys next door or the shop down the street, it seemed invisible. It wasn't big grandiose things. It wasn't a bunch of hot air balloons and free ice cream out at the front of the wrap shop, or it was nothing visible. It wasn't big dramatic things. It was just doing the little things right and putting their numbers in the right order, and they are making millions. I'll give you an example. I want you to think about what we had a girl and her husband, right? And this is another girl this is another shop in Florida. She's down in Miami, and we took. I want you to think about this. One bay, just had one bay. They were only capable of doing one vehicle at a time, one project at a time. It was her husband, and one helper, just the three of them, in one shop, and they do. On average, every year obviously is a little different, but on average, they do $1.2 to $1.4 million a year. Just those three, the husband, the wife, and one helper. Because they identified all of the things that they should be doing. They got rid of everything else. They trimmed the fat, and they focused on becoming very good. They focused on becoming the go-to shop for one thing that made them the most profit, and they went all in on it, and they're making a bloody fortune. Right? And so that's what we want to do. You can't do that until you know your vitals. And that's why we're building all this information. So I want you to go through and assess everything you do. Chrome deletes, PPFs, partial wraps for contractors. Like, break down everything you do and give it a PTU. Give it a, what is my profit per time unit on each of those things, and give them values. And then put the number one. Figure out what is the most profitable, what is the one thing, and that's what I want you to put into all these calculations. Okay? So, anyway, let me go on here. Excuse me. All right. So, the power of this is if you merely focused on just this one little thing, like I told you, like that girl, right? If you just merely focused on just this aspect of it. Think about this. Once you identify this, let's use those two numbers. Let's say hypothetically that you realized that, like, your eyes opened to this concept and you went, well, crap, half of my jobs are full box truck wraps and half of my jobs are paint protection film on Teslas, right? Or sports cars, right? And we done the math, and you cut out everything else and only focused on just that, and you dropped the box truck and filled that time with just more of these same products, right? Of just doing the paint protection film. I want you to do a little math. You only have 8 hours a day. And let's just say you're working 5 days a week instead of 6, right? That's 50 hours a week, right? I mean, times 50 weeks. 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, times 50 weeks is 2,000 work hours a year, right? Now, those 2,000 work hours at $293 for your time unit is $586,000. Just simply switching over what you do in that 8-hour day to your optimized or your max capacity or your most profitable service once you've identified it, and it's $530. Those same 2,000 hours, not working harder, not working with extra guys or hiring more people, just simply changing what you're doing during the day to your most profitable time unit is $533 at 2,000 hours. That's $1.6 million or $1,060,000. There's a $500,000 difference just by changing and identifying what your most profitable service is and going all in on that. Not working harder, just smarter, right? That's a big difference, isn't it? Now, the next one I want you to do, once you've figured all that out, is what is your average lead count? On average, how many leads come to you every month? Meaning, I don't care if it's Instagram, pay-per-click, Facebook page, if it's referrals, if it's word of mouth, if it's from YouTube, I don't care where it comes from. On average, total, what is the total lead count on average? Well, Jim, if I include Instagram and I include a couple I'm getting from Facebook, and I come up with about 20 leads a week. That's how many leads I'm getting. A month. I'm getting about 20 leads a month. Okay. That's a good number to know. Now, what is your average project you're completing a month? How many jobs are you doing a month? Well, some months are better than others, Jim, but on average, I'm doing about 7 jobs a month. I'm not quite finishing 2 projects a week. Okay. So you're getting 7 jobs a week done. A month. Yep. All right. Now, here's a really important question. How many jobs are you capable of doing? So I've got 2 bays, Jim, and I've got 2 employees and me. On average, sometimes the bay's empty, sometimes it isn't. Sometimes we get jobs done early, sometimes we don't. But on average, I could probably do twice as many jobs. I could probably fit in. If I was honest with myself, I could probably get done twice as many jobs as I'm doing now. Okay. So this is all starting. Once we start piling up more than one piece of data, it all starts to show us something, right? And so what we do is we take the difference. What is the gap, right? Well, I am doing 7. I could do 15. So I could probably do an extra 8 jobs a month. I could probably do 15 jobs. So there's about an 8 job difference of what I'm doing and what I could be doing. Okay. So now what I want you to do is add up the revenue loss. How much are you bleeding every month, right? Well, if I could do 8 more jobs a month and I get X number of dollars per job, that means that I'm losing X number per month in potential income, or AKA, that's what the big fancy boys on Wall Street called your pro forma. Here's what you're doing. Here's what you could be doing in a perfect world. What's the difference? That's how they evaluate companies and everything else. It's called your pro forma. So what I want to do is just give you a little bit of an insight into what your pro forma is. Okay? So to give you an example, 8 jobs at $3,200, right? 8 extra jobs at $3,200 a piece equals $25,600 a month. Now, take that $25,600 a month times the 12 months in a year is $307,200 a year. That's how much you're losing. You're losing $307,000 a year by not optimizing the shop you already have. That's not getting a bigger shop. That's not taking out a loan and getting Tom Brady to endorse your shop on TV. That's not taking out TV commercials. That's just you simply optimizing what you already have at your fingertips and just streamlining and becoming highly efficient at the shop you already own with no extra employees, no extra equipment and all that nonsense, just merely getting your crap together and optimizing what you already have and running like a sewing machine, right? Now, here's where the power comes in. Now, I probably knocked you sick. If you truly are starting to see this, and if you're an intelligent person, which I'm sure you are, and you're active, listen, you've been on this video, you've signed up for this, you're actually sitting here watching this, you're going through this with me. If you're still here with me, that means you're hungering and thirsting for knowledge and for a way. You want to find a way to do it, right? So let me tell you, welcome to the top 10%, because, for every 1,000 shop owners that know they need to do something, very few of them take action, right? There's probably 100 or less that actually take action. That's why 95% of shop owners retire broke. So congratulations, you're well on your way to becoming one of those 5%ers, okay? So anyway, what I want to take now is, and what I mean is I probably knocked you sick. I should have finished my thought. I probably knocked you sick, but take heart. This is easy to fix. I want to knock you sick. Pain is the greatest of motivations. And so if you've got the intelligence to see this and go, my God, look what I'm doing. I need to fix this. You're well on your way to doing that. So An old saying, it's been around for 1,000 years, and it'll be around 1,000 more because it's an old saying, but it's a true one. It takes money to make money. Well, I want to show you where that actually works in the real world here, and how this is such a famous statement, because it's a true one, is it takes money to make money. And I want to show you how that works. So here's what you would ask yourself. How much do you need to spend to make an extra that extra $300,000 that you're missing out on in your shop? How much do you think you need to spend? Well, now that we know our metrics, it gets pretty darn easy to figure that out. In order to close 8 more a month, I need an extra 40 leads, because you already told me that your close rate, like hypothetically, is 20%. I know that it costs $33 to acquire a lead. And so if I want to get an extra 8 jobs and my close rate is 20%, I need to drive an extra 40 leads to my phone every month, and they're $33 a piece. So it's going to cost me $1,320 to make an extra $300,000 a year, and to optimize my time, right? Or what is that's basically, as a percentage of revenue, probably a little less than 5%. So for every 5% of your profit you're putting back into the company, you're actually going to be able to optimize your company and make an extra $300,000 a year, hypothetically, whatever your numbers are, right? Once you get the formula, the numbers change for everybody, but the formula is the same for everybody. This is how you do it. And just these little changes, this is how these people are getting to $1 million and $2 million with a very small shop, because they're optimizing and doing the right things the right way. So what we're going to do is, let me take it a little step further. Now, this is the other side of the template that I made invisible so that we could use as kind of a scratch pad. But this is what I want to sink home for you. Now we can complete this statement because we have the vitals, or our metrics, on the other side. So you can fill this out. And I want to knock you sick and keep you up tonight, because, like I said, pain is the greatest motivation. And so I really want to sear into your brain just how powerful this is, and just what you're capable of, and how easy it is to change this. And once you have a clear understanding of what it is you need to do and your metrics, everything else becomes easy to change. So if I focused on what is your best PTU, PPFs on sports cars, right? That's what my best profit per time unit is. Okay, so if I focused on PPF projects and using my current close rate of, what is your close rate? 20%. And I could do, what are you capable of doing? 15 per month? So if I focus on paint protection film on sport cars projects, and I am using my current close rate of 20%, I could do 15 projects a month, and I would only need to spend, how much did we say that a marketing cost would be to make the difference? $1,320. So I would only need to spend $1,320 a month to drive X number of leads. How many leads do we need? 40. In order to close an extra 8 and my close rate's 20, I need an extra 40 leads, right? So I would only need to spend $1,320 a month to drive an additional 40 leads to my business, and I would close 20% of them. That's my close rate. At how much are the leads going to cost? How much is your jobs? $4,500, right? $4,500 a piece, whatever your average, whatever your average wrap cost, price is. And I could make $3,200 of that in profit. Then I would go from making $31,500 currently to $57,100 with a little effort, and I would be making $25,600 more than I'm making now by working smarter, not harder. This is pretty simple, pretty third grade stuff, right? Isn't rocket science. We're not building a rocket here. But this, once you have clarity and really start to understand, or at least take that big, beautiful brain God give you and focus it on very specific things, it don't take much to change it, right? And so that's all you need to do. Would you be willing to do that? Because look, If you know your metrics, listen to me. We've talked to shops around the country, good, I mean big and small, profitable and non-profitable. And if you know your metrics, you can turn your shop into, literally turn it into a cash cow. It's unbelievable what you can do. And like I said, if you never paid attention to me when I said that you need to stop, if you don't spend money on marketing and you're just using word of mouth, and I told you to stop and just go book a call with us, and let us help you kind of kickstart that and get rid of that extremely bad habit. If you're still here, listen, word of mouth marketing and referral marketing is allowing others to control your future. Your company can't get valuated, you don't have any control over it, and you are literally, you don't own a business, right? If you're not willing to create a consistent, steady flow of leads, you own a hobby, not a business, and we really can't help you. And nobody can, because you're in a raft on the ocean, just subject to the weather and the waves and the tides. You have no control over it. You don't have a motor, you don't have oars, you don't have a rudder, you don't have any way of steering your ship. You're just on the ocean of life, and you're just going to be taken anywhere. You're allowing others to dictate and control your future, and we can't help you. But if you are spending money, or you're willing to spend money, you can dramatically change your business. So tomorrow, I'm going to show you how to sell without selling. Once you understand your metrics, this all gets fun. The reason I use metrics first is because we take those metrics, and in the next 3 sessions, I'm going to show you how to turn that into a powerhouse and start making more money than you ever thought possible. Okay? And tomorrow, I'm going to show you how to sell without selling. And where does that come from? Like I said, from our book, all the research that we've done, some of these top wrap shops, they're not even selling at all. Never mind. How much would you love to not have to deal with tire kickers and Karens and price shoppers, and the only people that were calling you were people that were like, hey, can you fit me in? I'd like to do it as soon as possible. Price didn't matter. You want to talk about raising your prices? I'll show you throughout the course of this masterclass where you can raise your prices without losing any sales. Actually start getting more sales the more you raise your prices. I know that sounds crazy, but that's a fact. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to show you what the top companies are doing. Okay? And how do we know that? Because we hacked the top 10 shops and found their 3 biggest secrets, and we developed a proprietary software to help small business and small wrap shops get the same results in 60 days or less. And so hopefully you got a lot out of this. Watch it a few times if you need to get it. If you go back over it, make sure to do the homework, and I'll see you tomorrow.